Iran before we deal with the elections. Last week, thousands of demonstrators demanded free and transparent elections, questioning the organization of the elections scheduled for June 30th. But the violence that has sent Guinea into mourning is taking on an ethnic dimension, and politicians are finding it increasingly difficult to control.
Tension is growing in the Middle East as the war in Syria threatens to engulf neighboring countries. With pressure mounting on the embattled Syrian leader, Russia has announced it will deliver sophisticated surface-to-air missiles to the regime in Damascus. Meantime, Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs Yuval Stianets warned Russia of Israeli retaliation in the event Moscow delivered the weapons to the Assad regime. We have details of that story in this report.
Conflict brewing in the region, the Israeli government said it would act if Russia delivered the promised anti-aircraft missiles to its war-torn ally, Syria. Watching an exercise simulating the response to a chemical warhead attack on a residential neighborhood in Jerusalem, Israeli leaders made it clear that they would see such a delivery as a serious error. Visiting an army base during the exercises, the defense minister suggested a possible repeat of air raids carried out at the beginning of the month against what Israel said were Iranian missiles bound for the Lebanese Hezbollah.
The shipments from Russia are not on their way yet. I hope they will not leave, and if God forbid they reach Syria, we know what to do.
Meanwhile, the Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister explained why he did not believe Russian claims that these were dissuasive weapons against an outside attack on Syria.
SA-300 are not just defensive, but also, in our case, offensive weapons. Why? Because with range of up to 200 or 300 kilometers, you can attack airplanes over the Ben Gurion airport, over the Tel Aviv region.
On Wednesday, Benjamin Netanyahu ordered his cabinet to stay silent on the issue of Russian missile deliveries to Syria, but by then the message to Russia that Israel would respond should it feel under threat had already been delivered.
It is undeniably one of the top challenges in U.S.-China relationship. We're talking about cybersecurity. The White House calls it a key concern. It says the subject will come up when President Barack Obama meets Chinese President next week. This development comes as a new report is claiming China has gained access to U.S. military secrets through cyber espionage. CNN's Brian Todd reports.
And defense systems, the F-A-18 fighter jet, the Littoral combat ship, the Aegis ballistic missile defense system. According to a new report, the designs for these and other high-tech weapons have been breached by Chinese hackers. A confidential version of the report from the Defense Science Board, made up of government and civilian experts, was given to the Washington Post. The report doesn't accuse China of stealing entire designs, but if they didn't steal them, how did they compromise them? We spoke with Kevin Mandia, a top cybersecurity expert who did a separate report this year on Chinese military hackers.
And bits and pieces of things will be taken from many different sources, different laptops, different computer systems that have been compromised. But it's hard to take a lot of these pieces and gel them into one comprehensive picture of what might be being built or what the designs are.
CNN could not independently verify the latest report's findings. Several members of the Defense Science Board who we contacted declined to speak to us. U.S. defense and other officials downplay the report, saying some of the information is dated, that they've taken steps to address the concerns. One saying, quote, "The idea that somehow whoever the intruders were got the keys to the weapons kingdom is a stretch." But the Pentagon has recently accused China of trying to extract information from U.S. government computers, including military ones. If the Chinese even got into parts of a combat or missile defense system, how could they have gotten past the safeguards?
There's a lot of engineering that gets done in an academic setting. There's a lot of engineering that gets done at defense industrial base. And a lot of these places have been compromised for over 10 years.
China's military ambition has been off the charts in recent years. They've launched a satellite killer missile into space. Just over the past 2 years, they've deployed their first aircraft carrier, and they have test flown their first stealth fighter jet. One expert told me the technology for that was taken from the U.S. And China's alleged hacking could be deadly for U.S. forces on the battlefield. I asked one expert about the publicly released part of this latest report on the consequences of the cyber snatching of weapons technology.
If you mess with that software, the airplane won't fly, the missile will miss its target, and the ship might not get to where it was intended to go.
China's embassy in Washington did not respond to our calls and email about this latest report. China's government has repeatedly insisted it does not conduct cyber espionage on U.S. agencies or companies. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
Well, from U.S.-China relations, we take our second break. The news continues when we come back. Well, we now shift our attention to the weather report courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Hello viewers and welcome to Weather Forecast. The weather today has been partly cloudy and relatively mild in the morning, then sunny and warm in the afternoon. The satellite picture indicates spots of convective clouds over Ghana, the central part of the continent, as our area remains stable. These clouds will eventually give rain and thunderstorm over the affected areas. For tonight, we are expecting a partly cloudy and mild atmosphere to prevail over the coastal areas, becoming warmer over the inland areas. Whilst for tomorrow, we are expecting a partly cloudy and a warmer atmosphere, especially in the afternoon, particularly over the eastern sector of the country. The wind flow will be northeasterly over the entire country, and the speed will be between 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be 21 to 24 degrees over the coastal areas, and the rest of the country will record 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperatures will be 31 to 37 degrees over the coastal areas, and the rest of the country will record 38 to 39 degrees Celsius. Moving on to the sea, we are expecting low tides of 0.3 meter at 7:25 in the morning and 0.3 meter at 8:17 in the evening. High tides will be 1.5 meters at 1:45 in the morning and 1.8 meters at 2:08 in the evening. Waves will be between 1 to 2 meters high, slight to moderate southeasterly swells. The sun will rise at 6:34 in the morning and will set at 19:30 in the evening. That's all we have for you on the forecast today. Thank you for being there, and I will now hand you back to the news.
Well, Well, from that, the reminder of our top stories before we go. National Assembly members and other interested parties have converged for a 3-day program designed to ensure proper utilization, management and protection of the Gambia River Basin. ISISCO and Gambia National Commission for UNESCO have gathered experts for deliberations on means of